In 2017, Hawaiian astronomers discovered an oddly shaped interstellar object and gave it the name Oumuamua, meaning first scout from a distant place. Our next guest is a published Harvard professor and astrophysicist, Dr. AVI LOEB, joining us now to talk about why he's convinced this object is a result of extraterrestrial intelligence and that the mainstream scientific community needs to take these theories seriously. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Professor, can you explain scientifically why you believe this space object is not a comet or asteroid, but instead potentially an alien scouting vessel with a sail that you believe is less than a millimeter thick?
In October 2017, the first object from outside the solar system was spotted near Earth. And it didn't look anything like a comet or an asteroid of the type that we have seen before from within the solar system. In particular, it didn't have any cometary tail. There was no gas or dust around it. Based on the reflection of sunlight, it appeared to be most likely pancake-shaped, flat. And it exhibited an excess push away from the sun as a result of reflecting sunlight. In order for that to be the case, it had to be very thin, just like a sail on a boat, which is pushed by the wind, except here it's being pushed by reflecting sunlight. And nature doesn't produce sails. It has to be artificial. And the question is, who produced this object? Perhaps an extraterrestrial civilization.
Professor, despite having technology today to actually test these theories, the mainstream scientific community still deems the search for extraterrestrial intelligence as taboo. What is your response to the naysayers?
There is a very simple way to test the hypothesis of a technological origin for Oumuamua. When I go to the kitchen and I find an ant, I know that there must be many more out there, and I get alarmed. Similarly, the fact that we found Oumuamua only over a few years of surveying the sky implies that there must be many more out there, and we will find more within a few years. And so if we arrange for a spacecraft that will intercept one of these future objects that looks as weird as Oumuamua was, and we take a close-up photograph of it, it would tell us whether it's a natural object or an artificial object. A picture is worth 1,000 words. In my case, a picture is worth 66,000 words, the number of words in my book. There is a lot of pushback from the scientific mainstream against the search for extraterrestrial technologies, and it's being ridiculed and pushed aside. And I find it completely inappropriate given the public's interest in this subject and the fact that science has the tools to address it. Just imagine what would have happened if scientists would say in ancient history anatomy was not allowed because people were arguing that the human body has a soul. So imagine if scientists would say, oh, this is a controversial subject, we don't want to discuss anatomy. Where would modern medicine be? Science actually has an obligation to address a subject of great importance and interest from the public using the scientific method. Especially because the public funds science.
Recently, Chaim Eshed, who was a former Israeli security chief, made controversial claims about humans being in contact with a galactic federation of extraterrestrial beings, and that top U.S. government leaders actually know about it. What is your reaction?
I think it's irresponsible of reporters to bring up a story without asking for evidence. Just like in science, you cannot make claims without having some evidence to back them up. And so what I would ask Eshed is to provide any document that indicates that what he's talking about is true. I mean, there are lots of people that claim that they are Napoleon, and then you can ask for their ID. And if their ID doesn't say Napoleon and they keep claiming that they are Napoleon, you know, there are places for those people.
Professor, thank you so much for your time.